All right, now, let's begin again by going back to kind of look at the headlines from the first class we had and catch up with where we are tonight. The anointing of the Spirit is the result of God's presence. It is the fruit of God's presence. God's presence is His glory. God's presence is His person. God's presence are His attributes. God's presence is Him. God's glory is God's presence and attributes and person. So whenever in the Scriptures you read glory, or you read the word presence, or you read God's person, it's talking about the same thing. Stephen said, I saw the glory of God and Jesus at His right hand. He was seeing the person of God. And when Moses in Exodus 33 said, show me your glory, God revealed His attributes. He said, the Lord is merciful, gracious, long-suffering, so on. We had covered all that in the first lesson we had. The power of God and the presence of God are not the same. Like I said, the presence is the source, the power is the fruit of that source. Now, the presence of God changes you. The power of God changes your action. The presence of God changes your heart. The power of God changes your behaviors. One deals with your being, the presence deals with who you are, the being, and the power of God deals with what you do. So we got to understand this because this has been misunderstood, where people think power, presence are the same, and they're not. That's why Israel saw and experienced the power of God, and not one of them was changed. They still rebelled and wanted to go back to Egypt, in fact. That's why the power of God that healed the sick in the New Testament did not change the sick. They still crucified Him. That's why in John 5, the man who was healed, remember the pool of Bethesda. The Lord is walking among the sick. He sees a man who'd been there whole long 38 or so years. And he said, will thou be made whole? The man did not even know who Jesus was. The man was healed. He experienced the power of God. Walked, got up, picked up his bed and walked. And within minutes, he betrayed the Lord. When they said, what are you doing carrying your bed? This is the Sabbath. He says, well, that man over there told me. What man? I don't know. He was there just a second ago. He did not even give honor to the Lord. He said, that man. Think about this. He should have asked, who are you? After he was healed, he should have at least said, what power do you have to heal me? I've been here for all my life. But the man was ungrateful. God's power heals him. He doesn't even bother to ask the Lord, what's your name? Right? How sad. The power of God heals him, but it doesn't change him. He's still the same. The power of God comes upon people all the time, including atheists who've been healed. Does that change them? Not an iota. Now, God's presence is a different matter. God's presence will change hearts and lives, not necessarily heal their body. Hear what I just said here. God's presence does not heal your body. If that is the case, Elisha should not have died a sick man. Elisha, the prophet, who experienced the glory of God and the presence of God, died a sick man. Why? God's presence was so strong in his life. Yet, he himself could not experience healing. Now, that's in the Bible. Don't argue with me. There's a lot that will tell you, well, that's not so. He didn't die sick. Well, it says he died in his sickness. I don't know how you can change that. And others in the Scriptures who suffered physically knew the presence of God. And you can do your own study on that. But now the power of God, you cannot be where the power is and walk out without something happening to your body. That's why it says the power of the Lord was present to heal in the Scriptures. It didn't say the presence of the Lord. It said the power of the Lord. Now, do you remember Jesus, the Master, preached to multitudes? Nobody felt his presence. All they could do is see him, hear him, and watch him heal the sick and raise the dead. They even saw him walk on the water, walk upon the Sea of Galilee. Not one of them was convicted of sin. Why? No presence. The presence of God is what brought about conviction of sin on the day of Pentecost. When the presence of God fell on that glorious day, they were convicted. Something happened to their hearts. So the presence of God will always affect the heart. Is that clear? And that's the reason why you can go into a service of somebody and watch people get healed and folks sit chewing gum or smoke a cigarette. I've seen them do that. Careless about the fact they're watching God's power. But if the presence of God comes into a building, they start worshiping. They start adoring Him. They won't be sitting there. Whatever. I've seen them do that. I've seen people do that. But once the presence of God comes in, everything is changed. And that's the one thing I've asked the Lord to never take away from me, is His presence. That's the one thing I appreciate about Catherine Kuhlman's ministry. The presence. That presence was so strong in those meetings. I wasn't sick. I didn't go there so I can be healed. I went so I can feel that presence. And thousands of people come to our crusades for the same thing. So the presence of God will change you. The power of God will change your actions, your behavior, and in fact heal your body. And I'm teaching on the operation of the power. Not the glory, not the presence, not the attributes. No, the power, the anointing.